Now with Ariel Reshef, who is sitting in for Eva this afternoon, and Dr. Darien. And when you think about these big systems, hurricanes, you think also about the deficit spike when it comes to carbon monoxide. What can you tell us about this and how people can stay safe?
Well, this is a big problem because many people are without power. That leads people to, unfortunately, inappropriately using generators inside their home, exposing them to the risk of carbon monoxide. This is a colorless, odorless gas that can cause tremendous problems, especially if you're at risk, those with lung disease, those who are pregnant, those with pre-existing conditions. So it's so important to make sure you are safe. Number one, keeping your generator outside of your home, at least up to 20 feet outside of your home, and making sure that that generator is not facing any inlets for air. For example, your dry cleaner, or your dryer, or other forms of exhaust. You want to make sure that they're taped up. And you also want to use a battery-operated carbon monoxide detector. That helps to keep you safe. And if it beeps, you need to get out of the house, call 911, and get away from the exposure.
And as you mentioned, it is vital to know you cannot smell it. You can't necessarily detect it without those detectors themselves. So what are the signs and symptoms that you may be exposed to carbon monoxide?
Yeah, well, I've treated patients who have suffered from carbon monoxide injuries here in New York City, and unfortunately it's associated with up to 14,000 hospitalizations, over 100,000 emergency visits. So some symptoms can include confusion, nausea, fatigue, dizziness, imbalance. It's really about the history. If I talk to a patient and they've recently turned on their heat and there might be a faulty generator, or they're trying to figure out how to deal with a house without power, those are usually the historical parts of the story that help me lead to the diagnosis and get the appropriate testing. So it's so important that if you think you were exposed, to share that with your provider.
So important, and it's one of those things that we may not think about in the aftermath of one of these crises, but something to keep in mind. Dr. Darien, thank you so much.
So right about that. And folks, we would love to hear from you, so please hit us up on Instagram with all of your medical questions for Dr. Darien at ABC GMA3.